So I'm going to take this quick moment here while I figure out why the screen is on my monitor because um, I've got two other devices in the background that have had absolutely no problem whatsoever. Must be just PlayStation Network is crowded. Yeah, that's more or less what's happening here. Anyway, so I want to get to the gist of this. We're going to be getting a lot of new players because the 30th anniversary is free now to play. And there's only one piece of advice that I've more or less have come up on my. I've discovered this. There's nothing you really come up with on your own. There's nothing you ever really create. You discover it, and that's the best way to think about it. But that's not the piece of advice. That's an artistic kind of thing that I live by more or less. The piece of advice I want to share, get right to the point. Be the example, not the exception. If there is something you need to get done and you genuinely, honestly, and sincerely do not have the capability of taking care of it or doing it or implementing it or getting it started, seek out the individuals who will either help you learn those skills, develop those abilities, or at least can get help you get it all started. But again, and always foremost, be the example, not the exception. Live by example, not exception. Rules apply to everybody. Resources are accessible to everybody. You put in the work, you should get the benefits. And that's not to say that, I mean, if somebody is truly and completely incapable of doing a thing, then find some place for them to do a thing because that's the most important part. It's kind of like parenting. It really is. Um, I have kids, and I did raise or uh, basically caretake my sibs. Um, and I have been a mentor kind of accidentally to a lot of my classmates and coworkers. Um, and one thing I've learned is that the reason why the reason why I was sought out, the reason why my opinions or my advice or my perspectives were always elicited was because I functioned on the example, not the exception. I did the work when it didn't matter what hierarchy of the job. I could have been a baseline stockist, or uh, when they say stockist, that's really just a fancy way of saying you're an underpaid janitor. Let's be fair. But I've been everything from the stockist and the dishwasher all the way up to the manager, assistant manager of just about every job I've ever been in. Uh, it was weeks before it took about a week and or two before it was about 2 weeks, yeah, that I ended up becoming a supervisor in this one job, and they were basically setting me up to be assistant manager, and then I kind of just exploded. I made a choice and decided to go a different route in my life, and I don't regret that. I'm really grateful I did do that. But that's what I'm just saying is that because of the way I approach things, because of the way I approach people and community and activities, I go for the team, not for the personal glory. I enjoy seeing my name at the top three of the leaderboards in PvP, bringing it back to Destiny. And I get a thrill off of getting commendations post game. It's nice to see that number go over three, especially when in a 6v6 game. And but in the end, it's kind of like that doesn't mean anything because what I'm looking for is something that's going to benefit my gameplay, either my character or my own personal skills. Something that's going to help me grow as a player and grow my character or grow my account in some way that makes it welcoming to others, and that's why I've been on this 3-year mission, to show people that you can enjoy Destiny without dumping tons of money into it. Yes, eventually you're going to probably want to get access to some of the higher end content, some of the raids and some of the dungeons that are locked up behind paywalls. But Destiny, Bungie itself has said that the the uh, the Into the Light expansion that they dropped for us, the content that they dropped for us last spring, was so successful that that's their forward movement, right now. That's their model for the future. Until, something else comes up. I don't know that Destiny's going to go on for many more years after this. That Bungie had always announced, had always planned on a 10-year arc for this game. That the whole of the game was going to complete in 10 years, and what happened after that, they did not have a plan for. They had some ideas, like maybe turning it into an open sandbox, MMO. Um, but as it stands right now, Destiny is a suite of mini games. It is a collection of mini games, like Fortnite. You can play sandbox survival in Lego Fortnite. You can do racing in Fortnite. You can, do a zero build or a full build, battle royale. You could do team battles. You could do thematic battles. Uh, like right now, recently my son was playing a couple of the specialty battles. There's even a Guitar Hero, Band Hero type game that you can play in Fortnite. I mean, and I can see Destiny going that way. I know that sounds cheesy and cheeky and would open the door for a lot of IP crossover, and I think that would be a good thing. I mean, the emotes, emblems, and armor already are IP crossing. We're going to be playing Vampire Hunters, in the next expansion or the next DLC. Um, so that the themes of the foundation of that has already been put into place. What we need to do as the Destiny community is, either play it and enjoy it, and if not enjoy it, then just go away. Just not necessarily leave, but just don't play it. Just hey, I don't like that. You got to look at Destiny like you would a buffet. I do not appreciate shellfish. I grew up on shrimp and lobster and crab. I absolutely cannot stand the texture, and the taste is a little bit mediocre. I hate to say that, and I have had some very quality shellfish. I have had oysters that, not necessarily Michelin star rated food, but damn good. Freaking expensive as fuck too. Oysters in the half shell. I've had, oysters tempura kind of style, just about everything, and in a wide range. Like I said, I grew up on shellfish, and I just can't take the texture, and I can't. The taste is just. I mean, oatmeal has more going on for it in my mouth than shellfish does. But you can lay out a very simply prepared fillet of sole or cod or halibut or tilapia or salmon, um, and I will just devour the shit out of that. I'm talking like a simple, just a pan sear with a little bit of butter and maybe some diced garlic, and that'd be it. Uh, but that's the thing is that everybody has a different taste. Everybody has a different preference or aesthetic that they're going for. And if the aesthetic of Destiny drew you in to play the game, take the opportunity to do the free to play. Figure out what it is about the game you really like, and if it's something you want to invest in. And if it's not, then don't. There's no shame in that. There's nobody saying that you have to do this. It's not like, you have to register for the draft. It's not like you have to have some kind of a grade school and high school education to get a job. You're not playing Destiny to get a job. This game is not this games were not meant to become jobs. I am always thrown anytime I hear about how much money people who play chess and Go can earn. That is incredible. Well, the first time that Magic the Gathering went, to a national tournament, a global tournament, I was I was impressed by this. But I mean, you could turn a job you could turn almost anything you like doing into some kind of an income. That's cool. But you should not be going into it thinking about the margins. You should be going into it thinking about how is this going to improve you as a gamer and possibly even as a social member of whatever community you're part of. Because we play games to learn things. We play games to experiment, to explore. It's a space that is, meant to be, experimental. It's meant to encourage risk taking because you're in this game world. It's not the real world. I'm not gonna go ahead and just go run straight out the half dome and start mountain climbing. Even though I really enjoy climbing in Conan Exiles, and in a game that has climbing in it, and it's as a feature, a real climbing, not like this pole vaulting that we do here in Destiny or the block hopping that you do in Minecraft. I'm talking actual climbing. Games that actually include some kind of climbing mechanic, they get my attention and I go for it. I have done climbing walls at fitness areas and in carnivals and stuff like that. And I know my physicality wise, I am never going to get up a real mountain. I will not do that at this present state of my physicality. Can I find individuals that could train me to do that? Yes, I could. And that's the thing. When you're being the example instead of the exception, you are embracing your limitations and finding the parts amongst them where you can provide the best effort or make the most impact. But you're also, by example, accepting that this is something beyond my scope. Do I want to pursue it? And then will I swallow pride and take a page of humility here and go and seek someone with better knowledge? Because that's the whole point, and that's the point of the clan that my son and our friends started back in Destiny 1. The Gunfu Monks is all about that. We come to share our expertise and our knowledge, not to do carries. We're not here to carry you. We're here to help you succeed. We wanted to help you do that. And now, yes, granted, in these later years of the game, the clan has kind of gone off and done its own little things, but that's what we do. That's who we are as Gunfu monks, as part of this community that we created together. We wanted a space that we could gather up to do content and share our information with each other, but at the same time, we wanted to make sure that we had the freedom to branch off and do other things. We've had members even leave the clan temporarily to go play with another friend's clan while they were doing content that most of us weren't buying into. Um, and that's a fine thing because you have to have that acceptance. And being accepting of the newer player, that's also part of being the example. So you want to be patient. You want to have that. You want to subdue that paranoia. That oh, this is an other. Is this person going to be a tourist, or are they actually invested? Because you don't have to throw money at something to be invested in it. I'm a fan of a lot of intellectual properties out there. I am a fan of Transformers. I don't know even a 50th of what my son knows in Transformers. I'm a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't even know a hundredth of what my daughters know of Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. My eldest could freaking practically quote the Silmarillion page for page. I'm not that kind of fan, but I get into it and I'm passionate about it and I enjoy it and I will engage in content that comes my way through that. I'm a fan of Star Wars, specifically the one and only film that was released, A New Hope, that they called it later on. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back is a really great film and it stands on its own. And honestly, if Empire Strikes Back was the only Star Wars film ever made, it would be the best film ever made for Star Wars. But I think that, all the other films out there, they're good films. They're just not the films that I think of as Star Wars. And it's not because Star Wars A New Hope was the first movie I saw. That has nothing to do with it all. It Lucas wrote Star Wars to be the whole of that experience and then expanded outwards from it. And that was a fantastic and great thing for it because that's what Star Wars was never really meant to be, but what it became. And that's what Destiny became. Destiny was meant to be a 10-year arc, and we're growing past that now. There's plans to go past that. What the future holds is going to depend upon how the community reacts to it. So if we capitulate to uh, the typical live service model of paid season passes and DLC content drops that have gates on them with money gates on them, then that's what we're going to have happening. But if we engage in the whole of the game and play the way we want to play, and don't shit all over somebody else who isn't playing it the way we are, I think Destiny has a good future ahead of it. I think Destiny could actually spawn other games, and I would love to see some spin-off games from Bungie that are based in the Destiny universe. I would love to play some kind of city level kind of adventure. Maybe a single player offline experience would be kind of fun to do. Or maybe even some like mini games or puzzle games or like, something back in the past, like, play at the time that the traveler arrived or play during the golden age, maybe actually play, a mission or two that was noted in the grimoire. There's tons of resources out there. But again, it's not going to happen unless we show the engagement. It's not going to happen unless we support the newer players coming in. Because as it stands right now, the older crowd, we're getting kind of bored. We're finding other things to do with our time and our money. Anyway, well, that's enough prattling. I'm going to recycle this shit here and see if I can get back in to actually do the gunsmith bounties today. Until next time, thanks for stopping by, hearing me out. Be the example, not the exception. Share your experiences in a positive light. Okay? Just be cool. Be nice people. I do believe that everybody can be.